Hi everyone, this is going to be my Pile of Possibilities video for Historathon 2024. I will leave links down to the YouTube channels of the co-hosts in the description box, and hopefully this video will finally break my embarrassing recent losing streak of not having any comments in any of my videos. I'm not sure what that's all about, but hopefully I'll start to turn around soon. And so anyway, this is the first one. The others are down in my library bags from tomorrow. I'll just, pull them out and see what order they come in. I found this when I was randomly browsing through the religion shelf on a recent library visit. I'm not Christian myself, but I thought this was a really interesting topic, particularly because I love food. One of the most frequent compliments I get on my writing, I write historical fiction, if you didn't already know, is people just love my food scenes, like a birthday party, a Christmas, a Hanukkah celebration, like Passover Seder, like Shavuot, just Thanksgiving, stuff like that. They just love reading about my food scene. So this is right up my alley, and I love world religions too. The Food and Feasts of Jesus, Inside the World of First Century Fare, with Menus and Recipes by Douglas E. Neel and Joel A. Pugh or Pug. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. So the New Testament is filled with stories of Jesus eating with people, from extravagant wedding banquets to simple meals of loaves and fishes. The Food and Feasts of Jesus offers a new perspective on life in biblical times. By taking readers inside these meals, food production and distribution impacted all aspects of ancient life, including the teachings of Jesus. From elaborate holiday feasts to a simple farmer's lunch, this book explores the significance of various meals, discusses key ingredients, places food within the socio-economic conditions of the time, and offers more than 50 accessible recipes for readers to make their own tastes of the first century. Ideal for individual reading or group study, this book opens a window into the tumultuous world of the first century and invites readers to smell, touch, and taste the era's food. And I saw a number of chickpea recipes when I was leafing through this. I love chickpeas. They're one of my favorite foods, and of course it has biblical content, and a first century of the common era Passover, a Pesach Seder would have been conducted like. It's not exactly the same as it would be today. Oh, and here's one, lentil pottage. Lentils are really awesome. Obviously I wouldn't eat the roasted leg of lamb, but when I still ate meat, I never ate lamb because that's a baby animal. And just bitter herbs and saltwater dip. Oh, this is obviously things for at the serving at the Passover Seder, and it has fun illustrations like that. I love oh, and here's a first century wedding cake. Sweets are always good, and this is based on a wedding cake described by Cato. And now let's pull out the stuff from my library bags. Let's see which bag. This is Cerberus. If you saw an unboxing video some months back, I have a three-headed bunny called Cerberus from Plushy Dreadfuls, and they all come with their matching tote bags. This is so cool. I use this as one of my frequent library bags. So this isn't just this. I was looking for a video, nonfiction video on Neanderthals. I'm sorry if I didn't mention the first quarter of Historathon 2024 is about nonfiction historical books from prehistory until the year 500 of the Common Era, which is roughly when the Middle Ages began. Obviously, different historians have different starting dates for the Middle Ages. I've seen as early as 300, but pretty much everyone agrees they began by the year 500. And so anyway, this, I was looking for a video on Neanderthals when I saw this very nearby. That video, I guess, is in a different branch of the library. I love rabbits. So anyway, what else did I have in here? This isn't obviously for the first quarter, but this is also historical nonfiction of Women in White Coats, about how the first women doctors changed the world of medicine by Olivia Campbell. That's real. I love medical history, and particularly women's history. I'm a proud second wave radical feminist, and if I ever get enough subscribers to do an Ask Me Anything, I would love to talk more about what draws me to second wave feminism. And here's the synopsis. In the early 1800s, women were dying in large numbers from treatable diseases. Examinations performed by male doctors were often demeaning and even painful, which was why most women avoided them. In addition, women faced stigma from illness. A diagnosis could greatly limit their ability to find husbands and jobs or be received in polite society. Motivated by personal loss and frustration over inadequate medical care, Elizabeth Blackwell, Elizabeth Garrett Anderson, and Sophia Jex Blake fought for a woman's place in the male-dominated medical field. For the first time ever, Women in White Coats tells the complete history of these three pioneering women who, despite countless obstacles, earned medical degrees and paved the way for other women to do the same. Though very different in personality and circumstance, together these women built women-run hospitals and teaching colleges, creating for the first time medical care for women by women, with gripping storytelling based on extensive research and access to archival documents. Women in White Coats tells the courageous history these women made by becoming doctors, detailing the boundaries they broke of gender that should be sex. Gender was not used in that way in that era. That's obviously like a rant for another video. And science to reshape how we receive medical care today. And then now we're going to start pulling out the books I really did get for Historathon. Quarter one, Ancient Greece, Everyday Life in the Birthplace of Western Civilization. I've studied a little bit about ancient Greece and Rome in my AP European history class in my sophomore year of high school, but we didn't really cover that much of it, and it didn't really sink in. It wasn't particularly interesting, particularly because there was absolutely nothing on the AP exam about ancient Greece and Rome. It was just, I guess, something he put in there to fill up the time, but I never took a full class on either of them, and I've never done particularly too much reading. But obviously in my English classes I have read some of the famous plays from ancient Greece, so this is a a fun chance to learn more about it. And has all sorts of things different topics like higher education, the treatment of girls and girls' education, the education of boys, political dimension, rowdy and drunken behavior, games, hired entertainers serving the wine, wine, the vegetables and stuff, accessories, jewelry, just household, religion, private life, housing, helots. I guess these are different groups they're talking about, a citizenship, upbringing, just ultimate monstrosity, the Spartan alternative, just really fun, cool stuff like that. I'll be looking forward to looking through it. And this one is I love prehistory, a short history of humanity, a new history of old Europe by Johannes Krause and Thomas Trappe. Or I guess because it's translated, it would be Johannes Krause and Thomas Trappe, translated by Caroline Waight or White. Just I love early history. It just kind of gives me goosebumps to think about how long we've been here and what it must have been like to live in that world, particularly after our species was the last ape standing. All our other cousin species had died out, and we were alone on the earth, and we started spreading out, going from Africa into Europe and Asia and all over the world, except of course Antarctica. This is just going to be so really, really fun. A radical retelling of humanity's restless, genetically mingled history, based on the revolutionary science of archaeogenetics. I love these professions related to paleontology and archaeology and anthropology. That would be one of my absolute dream careers if there were any money in it, or I could justify studying for 8, 10, whatever years to get a PhD in that field and taking the internship and stuff. Johannes Krause is the director of the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology and a brilliant pioneer in the field of archaeogenetics, archaeology augmented by DNA sequencing technology, which has allowed scientists to reconstruct human history reaching back hundreds of thousands of years before recorded time. In this surprising account, Krause and journalist Thomas Trappe rewrite a fascinating chapter of this history, the peopling of Europe, that takes us from the Neanderthals and Denisovans to the present. We now know that a wave of farmers from Anatolia migrated into Europe 8,000 years ago, essentially displacing the dark-skinned, blue-eyed hunter-gatherers who preceded them. This Anatolian farmer DNA is one of the core genetic components of people with contemporary European ancestry. Archaeogenetics has also revealed that indigenous North and South Americans, though long thought to have been East Asians, also share DNA with contemporary Europeans. Krause and Trappe vividly introduce us to the prehistoric cultures of the ancient Europeans. The Aurignacians, or Aurignacians, I'm sorry if I'm mangling that pronunciation, innovative artisans who carved flutes in and animal and human forms from bird bones more than 40,000 years ago. The Varna, who buried their loved ones with gold long before the pharaohs of Egypt. And the Gravettians, big game hunters who were Europe's most successful early settlers until they perished in the Ice Age. Genetics has earned a reputation for smuggling racist ideologies into science, but cutting-edge science makes nonsense of eugenics and pure bloodlines. Immigration and genetic exchanges have always defined our species. Who we are is a question of culture, not biological inheritance. This revelatory book offers us an entirely new way to understand ourselves, both past and present, so that should be a really fun, interesting read. So is there anything else? No, this was empty. Just my library card. And if you're interested, this is what it looks like. I just couldn't resist getting that design because all the cute, fun dinosaurs. And I do realize this design was probably primarily intended for like children, but you know, you're never too old to love dinosaurs. It's just like something really cute and fun. And this is my other primary library book bag. This represents Epilepsy Bunny. He's the one in the middle behind me on that top shelf, the blue-green rabbit. I got him in honor of Dante, who many scholars believe like may have had epilepsy or a very similar condition. It's just, you know, like a fun like bunny to have. I love how they represent all these fun conditions. I do have a number of like unboxing Plushy Dreadfuls videos if you guys are interested. And this is about, I believe, mostly ancient Egypt when women ruled the world by Kara Cooney, 6 queens of Egypt. So it is entirely about Egypt. Throughout human history, powerful women have been called many things: bitches, witches, regents, and seductresses. Female rulers, revered and respected, are a rare phenomenon, except, that is, in ancient Egypt, where they governed regularly, repeatedly, and with impunity. With meticulous research and rich storytelling, renowned UCLA professor of Egyptology, Kara Cooney, unveils the stories of 6 remarkable power brokers: Mer Neith, Neferusobek, Hatshepsut. I'm sorry if I'm mangling these pronunciations. I'm not familiar with like ancient Egypt names. Nefertiti, Tawosret, and Cleopatra. Over the course of thousands of years, Cooney reveals these female pharaohs controlled the authoritarian Egyptian state as rulers, often petitioned by citizens to hold their country together and keep the peace. And yet many of their stories have been papered over. The ancient Egyptian government, forward-thinking though it was, sought to wipe away the contributions of these trailblazing women, removing their names from king lists, monuments, and shrines. But through decades of archaeological discoveries, historians have been able to piece together this unusual circumstance of female power and the intricacies in which it was employed. Mer Neith's rule as regent for a son too young to ascend the throne, Hatshepsut's turn to androgyny to transform into an all-powerful ruler, Nefertiti's plan to realign her country after her husband had thrown it into disarray, and Cleopatra's strategic sexual alliances that secured her place in history as the country's most celebrated queen. This provocative narrative is unlike any Egyptian history you've ever read. Through these 6 lives, Cooney examines how Egypt's queens ruled, why they were erased from history, and how their reigns may govern our own perception of leadership today. In a time when a woman's place in politics has never been more controversial, she shines a piercing light on why female power has seldom been allowed through the ages, and why it matters now more than ever. And it's really interesting to note the ancient Egyptians only had one word for a ruler, pharaoh. They didn't call like the women like either the wife of the ruling pharaoh or ruling in her own right, like pharaohess or pharaohette or any other title like that. Just like regardless of your sex, male or female, you were called like pharaoh, which is really cool. And that also reflects in how some other countries throughout the ages have called a queen who was so like powerful and beloved. For example, Queen Tamar of Georgia during Georgia's golden age is also frequently called King Tamar. They just like loved and respected her that much. Though I realize that also kind of feeds into a sexist idea about oh, you're calling a woman a king because like oh, just a queen isn't good enough, and that's just like a simple little woman, not like equal to a king. But obviously that's a complete off-topic discussion for something else. And this is also a fun coffee table book about ancient Greece I saw from National Geographic. I'm sorry for the glare. I have like little control over where and when I can film when I'm not in my own home. The Greeks and Illustrated History by Diane Harris Cline, companion to the PBS series, The Greeks, and just all fun stuff. Ooh, coins. I'm a philatelist, a stamp collector, numismatist. I'm also a coin collector. For like since I was 8 years old, so like a really, really long time now. And I do have some ancient Roman coins hanging out somewhere. They still need to be like properly cleaned off, and just like pictures of the ancient ruins and the statues and stuff like that, and just the lovely artwork of Hippocrates and his medical school. I would love the chance to learn a lot more about the ancient world than I already do. I do know a lot about prehistory. That's been a particularly special interest of mine since the age of 8, and I started reading about our prehistoric ancestors, but I just like genuinely, for whatever reason, never particularly like sought out a lot of like books, either like fiction or nonfiction, about the ancient world, you know, like Greece, Rome, Egypt, I guess like the Scandinavia, just things like that, but I do realize I need to rectify that. And just like interesting things like international contacts, the Mycenaeans, the mother goddess, her priestesses, and the role of women in Minoan Crete ritual slaughter. This is pretty. Minoan pottery. That would be like really, really fun. I have gone on several archaeological digs during my 3 trips to Israel. We were like, taken through like a cave they were excavating. It was really fun, and got to do some pottery shards. And I also saw some of the ruins from when the country was under like Roman occupation, like Caesarea and Beit Shean, which had a huge earthquake because there's like a big fault line in that area of the world, and just like really, really interesting stuff. So I love archaeology, anthropology, paleontology, like paleoanthropology, ancient history, all this fun stuff like that, and it'll be really cool to learn a little bit more about that. And so thank you guys very much for watching this like totally unscripted video. I'm showing off these books, my pile of possibilities for Historathon first quarter of 2024. I am going to again limit the readathons and read-alongs I participate in this new year. Unfortunately, I was hopeful in the beginning when I started making booktube videos they would be really good ideas for making more friends and networking, but unfortunately that never came to pass. I had unrealistic expectations, but now I just do readathons that look interesting, for their own sake, because I want to, not because, I think I should just like put myself out there as much as possible to make as many, friends as possible, or because, you're on booktube now, you're expected to participate in all of these readathons and read all of these books every month. So like when you like just limit and do very selectively, it just, takes the pressure off, and you can just like read what you want when you want, without like feeling like, I have to make all these videos and read all of these books, and particularly because of my writing is my number one focus. And please do leave a comment down below. I really, really would like to make more friends on booktube, so maybe I can finally feel like I'm part of this community instead of just someone who happens to make booktube videos but doesn't really belong to a specific like friend group or anything like that. And so and also please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. I really do hope I can grow my channel a little bit more, maybe hopefully by the end of the year. It would be nice to have 500 subscribers, or even like 400 would be nice. So thanks again for watching. I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.